Hi, everybody. Here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome to September GemWise. I'm so happy to come to you at month's end. We have some new folks joining us tonight, so I'm really excited about that. I want to take a moment to acknowledge you too. I already see Copper in the feed. So I want to welcome everybody, whether you're new or not. I'm very happy to see you. We have so much to talk about tonight. And can you guys see me okay, by the way? Just give me some feedback in the feed and say, yes, we see you. So that I know that you're here and you can see me okay. I think you can. Yay, okay, good. I always have to double check because the technologies sometimes are not so great. Oh, this is so great. So let me see who's new. On my list I see Jackie just said that she's new. Awesome, awesome. So we have Deborah Ann who's new. Renee is joining us. Copper is joining us. Pia, Tina, and Drea. Those are my list of newbies tonight. So I'm really happy to see you. And you're in the right place at the right time. We have so much ahead for GemWise, so much exciting to share with you. Upcoming is going to be a bonus session on crystal skulls. And I know there was a question. I have your printed out your questions from today in the group. So I have all of your groups. And Bridget's new too. Fantastic. Anybody else, by the way? Did I miss anybody? I know Ashley's not feeling good. We're going to send Ashley some good healing love tonight. And Cynthia is new. How exciting. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. And like I said, to those of you who aren't new, Amanda's is her first time live. So she has seen recordings, but not been able to join us live. So that's exciting too. Julie's here and she's new. Loretta, Jess, Taylor, woo, Karen. So fantastic. Brenda is here and she's new. Carolyn is here and she's new. Wow. And Nathan, this is his first class. Karen Smith. How exciting is that? This is really, really cool, you guys. Suzanne is joining for the first time live. Tammy's here for the first time live. Got a lot of second timers. Tracy's like, I'm an oldie. I love me some oldies. So if you're an oldie or a newbie, I'm really excited. And Bridget's not feeling good either. Let's just take a moment because there's a lot of people who haven't been feeling well. I'm going to go as long as I can with you tonight. I'm still coughing. I mean, it's the craziest thing. I've had this for 3 weeks. I was up for a good chunk of the night last night coughing. So Colin says she's a vet. That's right. I love the oldies. I'm an oldie but a goodie, right? So anyway, just sending, Samantha feels like balls, sending you some good love and healing vibes tonight. And what you can do, by the way, when we do this is just put your right hand up to my hand. My hand's really hot. So if you're not feeling good, just put this is holistic healer stuff more than GemWise, but just put your right hand up and receive. I'm sending that, I'm channeling that healing energy through my hand. It's kind of a fun experiment. Does your hand feel hot? Can you feel how hot my hand is? How cool is that? That's awesome. Erica says holistic healer is her first group of SG classes. And you're doing it in the right season. And it sure has. Hi, and is it Keela or Kella is new here too? Aw. You feel it? It's good stuff, yeah? So I'm sending to you, just be receiving. You're so welcome. And sometimes it's good to start there, right? To bring us back to basics. I think, I've been doing a lot of reading because it's one of my favorite things to do. I've been doing a lot of writing because I got books I got to finish. So if you ever wonder, what's she doing? You probably don't, because I'm literally the busiest person alive. Sometimes I don't know how I do it. But if you ever wonder what I'm doing when you don't see me or I'm bored, I'm writing. I'm trying to download my brain into some pages that you can have for a long time. So just taking a minute to smudge. And I think part of, in my reading and my studying and my writing, part of what I am, you enjoyed that with the hand, huh? That was rad. I like that too. Oh, Terry, it's really good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Yeah, so there's 2 books coming out this year, likely 2 to 4 books next year, and at least 1 the year after that. There will be a total of probably 10 books within the next 5 years. Is kind of my plan. And they're going to be something of a library of books, at least with the one publisher. So that's kind of exciting. That's what we're talking about, is a library of Sage Goddess books. So we are, all that is in the works. But my point to you was, not to tell you that so much, is just to say that, for me, the more, when I get back into reading and writing, part of the reason why I love it, oh, I'm writing books, Cheryl, lots of books. But part of the reason I love it is that it brings me back to basics in my own practice. And one of the things I've been thinking about is kind of some, basic practices that maybe we don't talk enough about, like how to work with your stones. You know what I mean? Like we spend all this time talking about the metaphysical properties and what your stones represent, but we don't spend a lot of time talking about, so what do you actually do with your, oh, for sure you guys will get signed books. Are you kidding? And what I'm going to do when we do our book tours is I'm going to figure out where you are and then go there. So we actually will be asking you to, give us a roll call and then looking regionally to see where we can come for book tours that would be in your backyard, so that we can come and hug and I can sign your books and all that stuff together. It'd be really fun. So I'll be all over the US, probably all over Canada and a couple of other places soon too, once the books start coming out. Very exciting. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's that question of, what do you do with those stones that you've been collecting all this time? Now, I will tell you, you should be really excited tonight because I have some giveaways for you that I think are about the best giveaways I've ever done. This is, are you ready for this? I don't even know how to prepare you for the giveaways tonight. Oh my God, Terry says she's gonna make me dinner. I'm definitely going to Terry's city. This is Elestial Citrine, naturally double terminated. Are you ready for this? This is Elestial Citrine, natural citrine from Brazil. Look at the front. The giveaways tonight are no flippin' joke, my friends. I wouldn't even know. First of all, I've never seen anything like this. I don't even own anything like this. You'll be the only one. If I was going to put a dollar value on it, probably $600, $700, $800, maybe $1,000. It's Elestial Citrine. I mean, you just don't ever see Elestial Citrine, and it's naturally double terminated. And it's in hydro. There are a couple places where I saw water bubbles. One of you is going to get this tonight, but that's not all. I know, holy shitballs is right. Honest to God. I mean, I will tell you, I was raised by a giver. My mom is not a perfect human being, but she's the best giver in the world. When my mom gives you a gift, it takes you a minute to recover from it. And all the time growing up, all I really wanted to do was be as good of a giver. Get my camera focused here. I wanted to be as good of a giver as my mom was. I aspire to great things. That's a lucky person. I have more for you though. Are you ready? This is a littler piece from the same pocket, and it is also naturally double terminated, and it has a rainbow on the face of it. I don't know if I can make it sing for you. It has the biggest, do you see it right there? Oof. You can't even fully see it on the front. I promise you this is in hydro. I can't find the water bubble, but this is also a giveaway for tonight. I also have this gorgeous amazonite with smoky quartz palm stone, because we're talking about amazonite tonight. I'm giving that away. I also have a kyanite generator, a blue-green kyanite generator from Afghanistan that I'm giving away tonight. Are you ready for some fun? Okay, so we probably, all told here, I would say we have $1,000 worth of stones. Conservatively, we probably have more like $1,400 or $1,500 worth of stones here on my tray that I am giving to you tonight as a thank you. I love giveaways and I love you guys. I love teaching gemstones. I get to do that because you're here. So when I give you gifts, it's really my way of saying thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for learning with me, for playing, honestly, for being curious. You know what I mean? Like a lot of us are at an age now where we don't have to learn anymore, right? Aw, you guys are so sweet. We don't have to learn anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like you could just go about your life and go about your day, and with everything that you know and all that you do, you're already very blessed in your life and very wise. So the fact that you choose to continue your learning, and then there's a lot of people to learn from. So the fact that you choose to continue your learning with me, if you heard rumors from Aeromagic last night, hopefully I'll be making your life a lot better really soon because our affiliate program is launching. And as I explained last night, the people who are in Holistic Healer are going to be able to have sub-affiliates. It's a tiered program. And so very soon, if you want to make a living through what you're learning, and through sharing Sage Goddess and teaching people about gems and all the things that you are studying, you will be able to do that. And that's really exciting for me too, because there's a lot of people who want to be able to work from home. And there's going to be no sign-up fee, no financial commitment. You don't have to buy anything. And you don't have to, there's no like, you know, with some of those companies that you sign up with, you have to buy a certain amount of product every month. We're not doing anything like that. So anyway, our goal here is to really give you the best possible education and then to reward you for your presence. Really exciting, right? That's very true. Good, good, good. So if you're in Holistic Healer, that's all you need to do. You have till December 1st to join Holistic Healer, which will enable you to join all of the excitement that's coming. And you have, that's 9 weeks away. So that's just a little preview of what's coming. I know. Donna says she's going to pass out. Don't pass out, Donna. I have so much to tell you over the next hour. You can't go anywhere. Oh, you're so sweet, Amy. I appreciate it. I love what I do because this is what I was put on this planet to do. I have zero doubt that I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I wish that for you too. I wish that for you too. And I do think that the work that we do together here in GemWise is part of why you're on the planet. You're a steward of stones. You're a steward of the stone people, and not everybody gets chosen to do that. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, and thanks, Annie. I do feel a little bit better today. I'm hoping that my voice is going to be good the whole time. I've had more tea in the past, 6 days. I think I have in the whole first, 2/3 of the year. So anyway, Denise had to put her oxygen on. Sweetheart. Oh, Marie, that's the biggest compliment of the night. Marie says, you brought me back to my love of crystals. There was a time when I had kind of let go. And truth be told, I was obsessed with crystals from the time I was about 7, 8 years old, which is when I really started collecting in earnest. Every time my parents would take me somewhere, I would beg, or if I did chores around the house, I would beg for a crystal instead of $1. I was that kid. And I would say somewhere, you guys are just making my day, by the way, with the comments in the feed, love that. Somewhere along the line, I would say in my late teens, early 20s, I had kind of a scary metaphysical experience. I was dabbling in some stuff that, well, thank you for noticing my shirt. It's a really fun crystal company. And they do these tank tops, and it's got the flower of life on the back, which I love. And then they do these, this is sacred geometry on the front. It's cute, right? I like to support other small shops. And so if you like their clothes, I can post in the group a link to their site because I think they're really cool folks. Oh, Christy, you made my night. But I had a really scary metaphysical experience. I was dabbling with some stuff I shouldn't have. And I should say more to the point, I was, Cynthia's wearing her Sage Goddess tank top right now. I love that. I have to stop wearing mine because it looks like that's all I wear. I actually had Zoe stop me and say, you're not going to wear that Moon Magic tank top again, are you? You just wore it yesterday. And I was like, Zoe, I love that. We made that. She's like, I don't care. You wore it yesterday. Oh, how sweet is that? Bridget said her son is picking up her love of crystals too. But anyway, I was dabbling with some stuff I shouldn't have in a way that I shouldn't have. And I brought something really scary into my house at the time. And I've told this story before, so you probably have heard it before. But it freaked me out pretty bad. And I actually stopped for not that long, but I would say maybe 6 months or so. And I actually, during that time, I gave away some of my crystals. Because isn't that what you do? Sometimes if you decide, oh, I'm going to pause this or whatever, you'll end up giving some of your stuff away. Unless you really feel like you need to give your stuff away, let me caution not to give your tools away. Even in a fit of, I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm not into this anymore. Learn from me and from others in this group too who've done the same thing. Don't give your stuff away. Because here's the thing, if you love crystals, you will always come back. I was in a high priestess training program. And they didn't do the best job of teaching us how to work spells. And so I was doing a money spell in May, and I had gone through all the steps, but I had not opened a circle. Never do that. that was part of my divergence from that path in particular too, because I just think sometimes the work isn't safe. And especially if you're teaching people, in hindsight, I wasn't taught well, and I made a mistake that was very costly. And so I was learning. And so I did a spell without opening a circle. In any case, whatever was let into that house is still there. What is that now? 25 years, 27 years later? I know that energy is still in that place from all those years later. Something dark came in. Something dark came through. And so anyway, I have done a lot of healing on that space. It's not my house. It's my parents' house. I was living with my parents at the time. I was a kid, And here's the crazy part of that story. You ready? So I did this shit, okay? And I knew right away. I was like, oof. I mean, the room went completely cold. So I panicked, right? I got all the stuff together. I got it out of the room and out of the house. And my mom, who's a medium and a channel and a very wise woman in many ways, I can laugh about this now. So I came out of the bedroom where I had done this, just a quick digression. And she's in the hallway and she looks at me and she goes, "What did you bring in here?" And of course, me, like a kid who thinks that she doesn't know, like, what a dum-dum, right? I look at her and I'm like, "What do you mean? What did I bring in here?" And all she did was look at me. She just looked at me, which is exactly what I would do if it was, anyway, it's exactly what I would do if it was Zoe. And so I learned my lesson. Is Paula signing off? Oh, that's all right. Good night, Paula. Anyway, I learned my lesson, and I've never ever made that mistake again. And so she looked at me and she said, "I don't know what it is. I don't know how you got it here, but you're going to get it out." And then she said, "And I'm going to bed." We still talk about that to this day. So anyway, I just want to, remind you that you need to do your work carefully. I personally don't endorse spell work. I think it's quite different from intention setting, which is more aligned with my own personal path. I have no judgment around spell work. I just want to caution you to do it with care and to make sure that you're opening a sacred, safe container. You can never do magical work outside of the container. If you notice, I'm really careful. You guys notice I always open a circle. I always smudge. I always invoke the directions. And then I always close the circle. I always thank and release the directions. And then I always smudge after, usually off once you guys are off camera. I'm very, very, very careful. And that's because I had a real shitty experience. I don't recommend that for you. I stick with intentions. It has worked well for me, I will say. I mean, I have manifested more in my life since leaving that path than I ever manifested while I was on that path. So I am not a walking, commercial for any of that work. But if you do it, I don't have any judgment against it. Mwah. It's just cautionary. And even, when the woman was interviewing me about Ouija boards last week, she was asking, how can you do it? Should you do it? And I said, I'm very cautious. And I told her about my bad experience. But I said, if you open a container, most things are safe. Not everything, but most things are safe. It's really about creating a good container so that you, yeah, well, Skara, Skara works a lot of spells. I think it's great. I have no judgment about it. I'm always the cautionary tale. And I always remind people, spell work is real. That's no joke. So I definitely am not one who says witchcraft isn't real or anything like that. It's real. And that's why you have to be very, very careful. Oh, for goodness sake, Cynthia got judged by a coworker because of magical mail. Can you imagine what if they knew of the other things that happen? Not here, but, in the world. Yeah. You have to have training, and you have to follow the rules. You know what I mean? It's just, you have to have a good teacher. So I always worry when people tell me, oh, I'm in a priestess training, or I'm into this and I'm into that. And one of the first questions I always ask is, oh, great. So what are they teaching you about space? Tell me about what they're doing to teach you about, creating safe containers for magical work. And when they say, what do you mean by a safe container? I always go, you may want to find a new place to learn. I try to be not judgmental, but okay. Speaking of which, I'm going to smudge just a little bit more. And then we're going to talk tonight about 4 of my favorites, really, because you have turquoise was your gift last month. Did you see Did you see that next month's kit has Moldavite in it? I will tell you, this is one of the kits that's going to sell out, and it'll be difficult for me to get it back. So if you haven't already gotten your October GemWise tools, they are in the shop today, sagegoddess.com. And so I want to make sure that you know that that's there for you. Oh, thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it. You gotta walk your own path. You just gotta walk it with care. You know what I mean? As long as you accept responsibility for the energy that you bring and that you raise, I think you're in good shape. It's really important. Okay, cool. So you guys have your tools. We will do all those giveaways. I have so much to tell you tonight. I kind of want to jump in. There were some great questions, by the way. I really want to thank you because the questions really inspire me. You know what I mean? It's so helpful as I'm getting ready to teach. I can always ask, do you have questions here in the feed? But I love having your questions in advance. So it's good to see you, Natalie, and all of you who are here. Very, very glad to see you. Moldavite makes you nervous. We're going to talk about Moldavite next month. And here's what's really interesting. So one of our vendors, this is how you know that we're careful here at Sage Goddess. We got a shipment from one of our vendors this week, and he said, I put some Moldavite in there for you. We're like, oh, cool, a new source for Moldavite, right? We've been buying from the same person for a long time. So I open the bag. We open the bag of Moldavite. Guess what? It's not real. I'm making a video for you to show you. It is not real. And the upshot of that is he was actually very upset because he got taken for a ride. So not only did he have to refund us because he sent it and he charged us for it, not only does he have to refund us, but he now has to go back to his vendor, you know, and we showed him. We're like, here's real Moldavite and here's what you sent, which I think is obsidian of some kind, but it's definitely green. Wait till you see the video. And so that's why you have to be really careful. And by the way, scary, that guy said he supplies a lot of people with that Moldavite. And I was like, you need to go to those people and be really honest, because you don't want to wait for them to sell fake stuff. And this guy didn't know, but you don't want to wait for them to sell fake stuff and then their customers complain and then they come back to you. And so we are so careful to make sure that our stones are authentic. Really careful. I know it's a shitty pickle. Okay, last digression. Are you ready? I'm going to show you one thing and then we're going to start class, because today we decorated for Diwali and I want to show you this beautiful altar that's sitting behind me. Isn't it gorgeous? That is our Diwali altar with our Ganeshas and our Lakshmi and all of our beautiful, 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 beautiful. Because we are having, on the night of the new moon, we're doing new moon ritual and Diwali ritual, which is the festival of lights in India. Diwali is the night that Lakshmi comes to your house and brings you prosperity for the whole year ahead. So you got to do Diwali, which basically just means you're going to light a bunch of candles and clean and tidy your sacred space and get ready for Lakshmi's visit, which in India is a big, big, big deal. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, if you're in sabbatical, you saw the video of that, so I wanted to show you. Okay, so we are, one of the questions from the group today was about gemstone skulls. We are going to have a bonus session on gemstone skulls, so I'm not going to go into that too much tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about mineral inclusions if we have time. One of the really great questions from the group today was about storm element. So I really want to talk about that. I'm so glad you raised it. By the way, our ritual, I think, is October 18th. If you check our events calendar, I'm 99% sure that it's the night of the 18th at 6 p.m. for Diwali and New Moon. So skulls are coming. We're going to talk about storm element. We're going to talk about vibration and frequency a little bit tonight too. I actually have a website that I can show you, and it comes from UCLA, actually, where they talk about crystals and their vibrations and how they're actually measuring the vibrations of crystals. And this is coming out of the University of California at Los Angeles, a major public research institution here in California. That is the physics of vibration, right? That is the physics of frequency. And what's really cool is when you go to this database at UCLA, my shoulder's all red and I don't know why. When you go to this database at UCLA, you can actually click on the mineral that you want to look at, and it comes up with a rendering of its crystal structure and actually talks about how the photons in the crystal vibrate. It's fascinating stuff. So, you know, it's like what I really want to have someone do is take all this super geek info that just like, you know, is like sex for my brain and somehow unite it with all the metaphysical once and for all. So it isn't like UCLA and this whole worm department, which is what they call it, you know, looking at the vibration of photons. And then there's Melody, who wrote Love is in the Earth, right, which is a book I'm sure you're familiar with. If you're not, it's the original Crystal Bible. And when she talks about it, it sounds woo-woo, airy-fairy, not real, right? And so if I could just get if I could just get these UCLA scientists and Melody or somebody or me or somebody, Judy Hall, on the same page, that would be really, really good. It is sex for my brain. It's a major turn on, all this. When we talk about science a little bit, it turns me on. It's the PhD in me. What can I say? Okay. And then if there's time, we'll talk about other things as well. Crystals for Reiki work and so forth, which are great questions. Okay. So let's jump right in. Triclinic is one of my favorite structures for crystals. Delphine said braingasm. The 8-year-old in me had a giggle at that. I think that's really funny. I know. In fact, we here at SG are trying to figure out how to pitch me for TED, right? Because I have multiple TED Talks that I have drafted that I think are all really good. But ultimately, I think probably doing one on the vibration of crystals would probably be the best contribution that I could make to the TED portfolio. So we're talking about that, whether I should talk more medicine wheel stuff or I should do more crystal vibration stuff or whatever. Okay. So triclinic crystal structure. Here is the catchphrase for triclinics. Are you ready? We're working on TED. We're working on Huffington Post. We're working on a bunch of different things. There's so much coming, you guys, and I'm so excited to share it all with you when the time comes. I know, right? Okay, triclinics. So here's the phrase that you need to remember when you're thinking about triclinic. Are you ready? Balanced imbalance. Reminds me of the concept of wabi-sabi. Are you guys familiar with the concept of wabi-sabi? It's a Japanese concept that suggests, well, thank you for that support, you guys. I really appreciate it. When the time comes and when the TED Talk comes, you'll have to promise to share it in your communities. I'll be really excited about that. Aaron's husband wants to know what brain sex looks like. You should sit with us for the next 45 minutes and you might get a little sample of what brain sex looks like. I'm hoping that your brain will feel like it had a good O once I'm done with you tonight. So wabi-sabi is this Japanese concept. It's an Asian concept more generally that represents the appreciation of imperfection. This is not, by the way, that's right. Thank you, Heather, for that translation. This is not my strong suit. I'm a little OCD, to be really honest with you. I'm a very go with the flow person. I am not judgmental ever of people, because the one thing I have learned in life, like if you ask me to boil down all of my life lessons into one lesson that I think is really important from my whole 44 years of being on this planet, it is don't judge people. Every time you do, it comes back to you and makes you look really stupid. I've just been teaching my, sorry, something in my mouth. I've just been teaching my kids that, because I told them, I said, every time you judge somebody, they're either going to do something or the universe is going to do something to show you that you were not smart to do that. So just resist the temptation. It's true. Judgment and love can't exist together. But I am super neat freak and OCD. I know if I walk into a room and there's something out of place, if there's a pillow out of place or one of those candles wasn't lit earlier, and I couldn't stop looking at it. So if you're picky, I have built a business out of being picky. I'm picky about stones. I'm picky about writing. I'm picky about photography. I'm picky about the way rooms look. I'm picky about energy. I'm picky about structure of things. Like, I'm very picky. So it's not my worst quality, but it's definitely not my strong suit. So triclinic crystals have a broad base. Okay, so think of triclinic this way. So when you look at your triclinic structure this way, the base is nice and strong, so it makes a solid foundation. However, if you turn that structure upside down, then it looks less stable. It looks like it couldn't, you wouldn't be able to balance the stone if it was sitting on this side, right? But when the base is wide like that, then it looks like a very strong foundation. And so all of these crystals in the triclinic family, your kyanite and your labradorite and your amazonite, and even into the rhodonites and the turquoise, all of them have this structure that when you, on the one face of it, it looks very strong and stable. And on the other face of it, when you flip it, it looks very unstable. And to me, that's life. You know what I mean? To me, that's life. To me, life is, if you look at your life from one direction, it looks really stable and great. And if you look at it from some other perspective, it looks like it could fall apart at any minute. And I think that that's sort of kind of the lesson or the medicine of the triclinic structure. So this is the structure of yin-yang, balanced imbalance, wabi-sabi. There's also this concept in Greek called kairos. And kairos actually comes from the root word chronos, which means time. Kairos is this concept that there is an opportune moment in life for everything. That there is, it almost reminds me of the biblical passage, right? Like, for everything there is a season, right? Isn't that one of the Psalms? And so it reminds me of that. For everything there is a time. For everything there is an ideal opportunity. And so that is the concept of kairos. I love foreign languages and the way they have these concepts that there's no translation in English. Like, there really isn't, we don't have a word for that. And they do in Chinese, they do in Japanese. Other cultures have a name for this idea of perfect timing. But the triclinic stones give us unique access to kairos, to the perfect opportunity for whatever is emerging in your life. And so that's another reason to, exactly, thank you for, Venetia gave us the spelling right there. So it's K-A-I-R-O-S, kairos. And so these stones help you tap into that. The triclinic structure also provides grounding and balance, which is, of course, why good old kyanite, right? I mean, when it comes to balance, there isn't, even if you have a sexier stone, I don't think there's a better stone for balance than kyanite, even all the way to, feelings of, physical imbalance, right? Anytime you have any sense of being off kilter, using kyanite will bring you right back. Vertigo of any kind is very, very much treated by kyanite, and very successfully too, by the way. People who have ongoing vertigo, what I tell them is wire wrap a piece of kyanite. Those of you who are asking about the spelling of kairos, just look up in the comments a little bit. A bunch of your colleagues gave you the spelling for that. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to tell you about the structure. So let's dive right in with kyanite. Kyanite is one of my favorite stones. I love this piece. I'm actually going to wire wrap this piece because to me it looks like an arrowhead almost. I've just kind of been in love with it. So, and this was one of the pieces from the lot that I sent you. I love kyanite so much. And there's a little bit of quartz veining on this piece. And you may have found some quartz veining or some garnet veining in yours too. One of the things you have to remember with kyanite is that it grows with so many other minerals, right? The entire tourmaline family grows with kyanite. Guess what else grows with kyanite? This is a perfect ruby hexagon. I will say with record keepers for days. Do you see the record keepers on there? Those triangles? That's actually one of the clearest images I've been able to show you in class of the triangles on the face of a perfect ruby hexagon. This one has them on both sides. Can you see them there when I turn it? All those triangles? Okay, but here's what's really cool. You ready? I've held on to this piece for a long time because it's really good for teaching, honestly. The only reason I bought this piece was like, I have to buy that because I can show them when I'm teaching them. This is ruby, this is kyanite. How cool is that? I mean, look at those big, juicy kyanite crystals, right? Lots of them. There's black tourmaline, right? Because ruby grows with black tourmaline, grows with kyanite, grows with fuchsite. All the tourmalines grow with kyanite, also grows with lepidolite, and all of the micas grows with feldspar, grows with smoky quartz, grows with clear quartz. And so that's one of the reasons, if you ever have a chance, and if you want to do it, you should go in the next 10 years, I would say. The Pala mine, P-A-L-A mine, which is near the Queen Mine in northern San Diego County. Actually, I think it might be outside of San Diego County. I think this is actually officially, I don't think it's Temecula, but I think you're definitely outside of San Diego County when you go that north. There is an active kyanite, tourmaline, smoky quartz, clear quartz, kunzite mine called the Pala mine. And actually the Pala mine, or the Queen Mine, the Pala mine is here and the Queen Mine is here. So they're sort of adjacent, and they're beautiful mountains, by the way. I mean, if you ever go out there, every time I go, we're lucky because we know him well. And so he takes us actually into the mine. If you are just going there as a visitor, they actually bring the contents of the mine out to you. They only take people that they know through and into the mine. I thought about, actually, because I can get you into the mine, I've thought about doing a meetup there. Wouldn't that be fun? And then we could all do these mine tours. You have to suit up and you have to have your hard hat with your flashlight. It's no joke there. And the mine is a little unstable. And so that's why I'm saying, if you really want to do this, I would go sometime in the next 5 to 10 years. Because I do think that within our lifetime, this mine, interesting. Cynthia said PBS Mineral Explorers did did a piece from there. It's worth going. It is extremely hard work. Okay, I think it's $60 or $80 for the day, and you get to keep whatever you find. But it's flipping hard work. I mean, I'm very strong and fit, and still at the end of the day, I'm like huffing and puffing because you're carrying. I mean, out of that mound of sand and rock, you're carrying buckets, right? And then you're going through and sifting and sorting and cleaning and washing, and it's disgusting and fun and gross and awesome. And then what we always do is there's a casino right there, the Pala Casino, and it has one of the best buffets I've ever had in a casino in my life. So every time we go, we used to take our team when we were smaller, and every time we'd go to the casino, have a drink, maybe throw a couple quarters in a slot machine, and then have a beautiful buffet dinner afterward, after all that hard work. So anyway, who knows if we could do a meetup there next year or something like that. I would really enjoy it. I haven't been in a while. And that might be something that would actually be worth flying out for, for those of you who aren't too close. Actually doing a field trip there would be really, really fun. Wouldn't it be fun? And I'm down. I mean, I am not somebody who shies away from big, gross mining expeditions. I will get in there and do the thing with you. And I'll tell you, who has almost as much fun as I do is Dave. Men love it because it's like a treasure hunt. You don't know what you're going to find. One of my team members came out and she had a watermelon tourmaline this big in her hand, a perfect one. Thing's probably worth $5,000, $7,000, $8,000. And she's running around screaming. She's like, oh my God, oh my God. And she holds it up. And then I start screaming, oh my God, oh my God. We were like kids. Super fun. Okay, so anyway, that's all about kyanite. I digress because I wanted to tell you all about how kyanite grows. So the word kyanite, the name kyanite, comes from the Greek kyanos. Annie's husband wants to go. He can hang out with Dave. They'll be treasure hunting buddies for the day. They flippin' love it. You might think that your partner or your brother or your boyfriend or husband wouldn't like it, but let me tell you something. You tell boys that they get to go hunt for treasure and then have a big dinner afterward, they're gonna be down for that. So cool. Okay, kyanos. So the name kyanite comes from the Greek word kyanos, which means dark blue. Think of the word cyan, right? Like the paint color cyan, C-Y-A-N. The Greek word for dark blue is kyanos with a K, K-Y-A-N-O-S. And so kyanite is actually a literal translation. Dave actually would love being with all of you guys. He really would. Dave has such a soft heart for everybody who interacts with Sage Goddess. He wasn't the most spiritual person when we first met, but he really is now. And it's funny how much he will tell you how much he has learned about how much growth and healing and beauty comes from the work that we do. He's been quite changed, as many, I think, of us have been and partners have been. Okay, so you may have thought kyanite had a sexier name or was named for something sexier, but it's just called dark blue. Much like lapis lazuli, right? Really just means blue stone. We think of it as being this really exotic, beautiful name of something, but it's not. It just means dark blue. Now, with kyanite, what you have, I really want you to hold your stone for a minute. I like to hold mine in my left hand and cover it with my right hand when I'm trying to receive energies. Loretta says, tell me your secret on how you convinced him. Girl, there's no convincing. There's no convincing. It takes time. You lead by example in your relationship. He saw how happy I was and how much beauty I was experiencing, and then he wanted to experience that too. And I think that's how you, whether it's a man or woman or anybody, I think your partner is always looking at you. And when you're alive and I'm at my best self right now in my life, in my middle age, and so I think that's inspiring to him, just like it can be inspiring to anybody else. Okay, so with kyanite, what you're working with is the balance of yin-yang energies. This is the ultimate stone for balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine in one being. This is the stone of integration. This is everything. Kyanite, I would say, that's so good. Kyanite, I would say, welcome Valerie, is probably one of the most important stones you can have. You should have blue and black at a minimum. If you can find the green or the orange, I highly recommend it because they have additional metaphysical properties that they bring, but you have to have a piece of blue. And I highly recommend getting it in some form that you can wear it, whether it's a kyanite ring. We've had kyanite rings, or wire wrapping the crystal. Do you know what I mean? It should be with you and near you, especially, like I said, if you're feeling, whether you're feeling emotionally out of balance, which that could be hormonal, that can be based on what's happening in your life right now, or if you feel physically out of balance. Like I said, there's a lot of vertigo. And part of it is there's such a huge energetic pull on our planet right now that a lot of us have been feeling kind of off kilter a little bit, because we're trying to integrate this. What's happening across our planet is a major energetic evolution. We are evolving. It may not seem like it, but we are. And so a lot of us are trying to sort of integrate those energies. And so it's really, really important. Now, the green is rare, super special. I brought some back from Denver. I think it's gone. The green is super physically healing. So the only thing better for vertigo than blue kyanite is green kyanite, if you can find it. The black kyanite, let me see if I have my piece here to show you. Black kyanite is super important too, because black kyanite never needs to be cleared and instantly clears anything it touches. So I have taught all of my clients and all of my friends who are tarot readers that they absolutely have to keep a piece of kyanite in their tarot box or in there with their silk, fabric that they use to wrap their cards. They have to have a piece of kyanite in there, because your clients are touching your cards all day long. The only thing that's going to keep them clean, if you're reading for people, is black kyanite. This one's a double fan, double terminated. You see the interlocking there with the titanium coating. We had these in the shop a while back, and we had quite a few doubles. So you may have been one of the lucky ducks who got one of those when we had them. Black kyanite, in my opinion, it's a great question, Nicole. I like to touch things with black kyanite to really feel like it's clean. That may be my little OCD hang up, okay? I don't think it necessarily has to touch, but I do like the idea of it touching. Just like when I use salt, this is my little stone clearing bowl on my altar. It's one of those Turkish bowls that you may have, and then I keep salt in mine, because another way to really instantly clear your stones is just to sit it in salt, and it doesn't take long. This is Hawaiian Alaea salt that one of my Hawaiian clients gifted to me, but you can use pink Himalayan salt, or even just sort of a coarse, even an Epsom salt really is still just as good. So whatever you have, just put it in a little container, and that way you can do it that way. Nicole, I don't think you have to worry about that. She doesn't want to clear her stone, and so she's worried it's going to clear the programming of her quartz if it's too close. I would just say make sure it doesn't touch. But I have a lot of stones around my black kyanite here on my altar that have been what I call set. When I program a stone and I know that the stone has been programmed, I call it set. And so quite a few of these stones here are set for specific things, and I keep my black kyanite here too. I just don't put them next to each other. Yeah, Tina's asking, are there different grades of black kyanite? If you have black kyanite and it grew in an inclusion of smoky quartz, and I've seen that because they grow together, you can end up with a very thin layer of smoky quartz over your black kyanite. That's very rare, but who knows? I mean, you might have something like that, which is pretty cool. Oh, Erica, girl. She asked, can you grid with black kyanite? I highly recommend it. You can do a really beautiful grid with black kyanite for clearing, and what you could do is just set up your grid. If you don't even need a gridding mat, but if you had a gridding mat, you could do that and set up your, do 4 quartz points at the 4 major directions, and at the cross quarters do black kyanite blades, maybe with a quartz generator in the middle, and maybe some additional obsidian or onyx or jet or black tourmaline, and that would be a really effective clearing grid. Absolutely. So blue kyanite has a little bit of that, but it is not as potent as the black. So for me, blue kyanite is about balancing yin yang, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, creating integration. So like when I go and do journey work, or when and by the way, if you want to know more about gridding, go to YouTube. I did a free video. I think it was like, let's say a year and a half ago, maybe, and it's halfway decent. So, and it's there. Maybe somebody can find it and link to it in GemWise, because I kind of went through the basics of gridding, kind of a 101. My friend Stephanie, Hibiscus Moon, who many of you know, sweet, wonderful woman in my life, we really adore each other. I know a lot of women compete with each other. Stephanie and I don't. We're legit friends. We have a lot of respect for each other. And her book on gridding is the best. In fact, my publisher asked me if I would consider writing a book about gridding, and I asked, why would I do that? I tell everybody to go read Stephanie's book, because I think it's really good. I don't have to reinvent that wheel. Okay, kyanite is a silicate material. Anything from the silica family is going to be between a 5 and a 7 on the measure of hardness scale, or the Mohs scale, which means it's suitable for daily wear. So even though it's not as strong as an emerald or I'm sorry, I should say a sapphire or ruby or diamond. So even though it's not as strong as that, I was talking about hibiscus moon, by the way. It still is going to be very suitable for daily wear. You don't have to worry about breaking it in your jewelry. You should be just fine. Okay. The kyanite aligns to Taurus, Libra, and Aries. It's considered a storm blend of energies. Okay. So stones vibrate to certain frequencies. And one of the frequencies that they vibrate to, you can, by the way, get kyanite wet. You can. It's not like selenite where, and by the way, I don't know that Stephanie shares her last name publicly, so that's why I'm not mentioning it to you. I don't know that she shares it publicly. She might, but I don't like to be the one to disclose that information. I'm out very public with my personal name and my professional name, but I try not to. I'm trying to share people's information unless I have their permission. You're welcome. Okay, so storm elements. So stones vibrate to frequencies, and one of the frequencies they vibrate to is elemental. So some stones vibrate to and by the way, you can find her book on gridding just by going to Amazon and searching hibiscus moon gridding, and you'll find it there. So they vibrate to the 4 elements. So some stones vibrate to the fire element, some stones vibrate to the water element, some stones vibrate to air, some stones vibrate to fire. And sometimes it relates to or is sort of built upon whatever signs they correspond with. But in some cases it's not. And so in this particular case with the storm element, what that means to you, and this is one of the questions from the group, is it means that stone vibrates to all 4 elements. It vibrates to earth, air, fire, and water. It's kind of cool, isn't it? Okay. So it's a blend of all 4 elements. A stone only vibrates. Here's what you need to know. Ready? A stone only vibrates. Oh, does she? That's really sweet, Nancy. We really are buddies. And again, I know it's crazy because a lot of people are very competitive with each other. And a lot of times women don't like to be friends with people that could be seen as their competitors. But, she and I are talking about actually doing a meetup in Tucson this year. Wouldn't that be fun? So that everybody, all of her peeps and all of my peeps, and we have a lot of peeps in common, could all actually be together in one place at one time and, I don't know, have lunch or dinner with us, or I don't know, we're talking about it because we're both going to be in Tucson at the same time this year. Okay, so you only see a stone vibrate to the storm element when? Okay, this is what you need to know. When there is radical change coming. Okay, so if you get drawn, it's so cool. Yeah, Tucson's around the corner, you guys. It's hard to believe. I mean, it's just a few months away. I feel like I just got back from Denver and be hitting the road again. When you are drawn to a storm element stone, as the legend goes, it means that there's major change on the horizon for you. So if you really feel like, I don't know, I have to, I'm reading your comments, but I'm trying to stay focused so I can get through all of our stones. But anyway, when you feel drawn to the storm element stones, you should always ask yourself, is there change ahead? Is something changing? Am I changing? Is there an internal transformation? Is there an external transformation? Are my circumstances changing? Is my relationship changing? Is my job changing? Because usually the drawing of you to the storm element stone means that there's some kind of change or transformation happening for you. And the other issue, or the other energy stream, is huge spiritual cleansing and renewal. Kind of a rebooting. And again, we go through that sometimes. I mean, what I explained to you at the beginning when we first started about how there was a time when I kind of stepped away from some of the metaphysical work. And I can, if you'd like to know more about storm element stones, what I can do is put together kind of a basic list for you guys of all of the storm element stones and just put it in the group so that you can kind of look through. Because I think it'd be telling for you. Like, yes, I've been drawn to that one. No, I haven't been drawn to that one. And can I think about why? Because I do believe that just as much as you sort of look for stones, I also think stones look for you. I really, really do. It's funny, I was watching a YouTube video yesterday on the subject of entheogenic shamanism, which is basically sacrament-based or substance-based shamanism, where you journey with different plant medicines. And as I was listening to this one, it was a beautiful lecture. It was a 2-hour lecture. As I was listening to her, and especially at the end, I thought, because entheo in Greek means the God within. So anything that's entheogenic activates the God energy within you. So that's what they say about, plant sacraments, plant medicines like ayahuasca that you use. It's called an entheogen. entheogen, which means it releases the God inside of you. And so I was thinking to myself, you know, I don't just think that plants are entheogenic. I think stones are entheogenic. Don't you? I mean, don't you sometimes feel, I will tell you, I mean, I know I'm giving this away, but I'm going to hold it for a minute for you, like a little baby. I feel like stones, like this one, this stone in particular, the Mother Lode amazing piece from tonight. This stone wants to show you a face of wisdom that you haven't seen before. And isn't that kind of what we mean by, you know, activating the God within? And so that to me is what the storm element stones do in particular, is they're entheogenic. Okay, cool. So next up on our list is, oh, and here's my affirmation for blue kyanite. And I actually wanted to read you also, this is the Simmons book called The Book of Stones. If you don't have this one, you should. And you can go to Amazon and get a used copy. Sometimes we have them on sagegoddess.com, and when we have big sales, that's another way to get one of our, a new copy at a really good price. So here is my affirmation for blue kyanite. I am in perfect balance, and you might want to hold your stone while I read this, by the way. I am in perfect balance within myself and the universe. My mind is open to receive the truth with love and compassion. I share wisdom from my heart with clarity and conviction. I visualize the dynamic dance of yin and yang within my human body. I trust in my internal compass, courageously stepping forward into my new moment. So that is Athena's invocation or affirmation for kyanite. And then here is the affirmation from Naisha Asyan, who's also who's a co-author with Robert Simmons of the Book of Stones. Are you ready? Here is hers. I cross the inner bridges. I'm reading this to you because I love it. I think it's so beautiful. I love her affirmations, by the way. I cross the inner bridges which lead to my growth, opening to the etheric realms, the world of nature, and the land of the heart. And by the way, here's what she says that kyanite does physically for you in your physical body. Are you ready? Simone's asking about a stone to carry for a Reiki attunement. This would be a beautiful one, actually, for you, Simone. I would highly recommend it. I also would recommend, did you see the rainbow chakra pyramids, Reiki pyramids that we had in the shop yesterday? Anybody who's doing Reiki, I don't miss those pyramids because that should be under your Reiki table. Those pyramids would sit beautifully on your client, and it has all of the Reiki symbols on them. That was kind of a special thing for us yesterday. So here's what kyanite does on a physical level. Kyanite can help bridge, because remember, it's a bridging stone. It bridges masculine to feminine. It bridges, you know, imbalance to balance, right? It's constantly, it's bridging you from current state to future state, taking you from where you are today to where you need to go. I'm glad you guys got those. So kyanite can bridge the energy gaps caused by bone breakage, surgery, and other intrusive trauma, assisting nerves and tissues to reestablish pathways through and around the trauma site. It is ideal for working to heal the brain from the effects of head trauma, seizure, or stroke. It can aid in creating new neural pathways around damaged areas. And so that's why one of the reasons I'm so flippin' passionate about kyanite, you guys. And I'm actually going to ask, when I do this giveaway tonight, I really want to give this away to someone who has autoimmune disease. That may not be fair, but I'm going to tell you why, okay? Maybe it is fair. When I was diagnosed with MS, so good to see you guys. When I was diagnosed with MS, this was the first stone I started to work with, even before Udilite, even before Tibetan quartz, which is a huge healer of the central nervous system, even before Sugilite, which is also a massive healer of the central nervous system. This was the first one, and I used it to heal the damage to my optic nerves that occurred with my first attack. If you have autoimmune, this is a strong statement. If you have autoimmune, you have to. Okay, who just said that? I'm going to give it away right now. You ready? Because I just had a huge hit from Spirit. Okay, Misha. As soon as I saw Misha's name, I was like, and it's hers. Giveaway number 1 just happened, everybody. I know it's yours, Misha. I just know it's yours. Ta-da! Yeah, I've had MS for quite a long time. I'm talking more openly about it now because Because actually at Sage Goddess, we're getting ready to do some really public philanthropy to the MS Society, and then doing some smaller philanthropic projects with other local organizations, smaller organizations. But we're going to be starting to do some bigger philanthropy around MS and just broader autoimmune societies that support autoimmune healing, especially research organizations. That's so good. Well, I'm not happy that all of you have autoimmune diseases, but I am very happy that Misha is going to get this piece. Misha, I will put this in the mail to you on Monday. So you will have it by as soon as it can get to you, but I will drop it in the mail to you on Monday. My sweet friends. Okay. So that is kyanite. Let's move on to amazonite. Are you ready? Again, like I said, it's a silicate material. Anytime you have silicate material, you're going to be in the 5 to 7 range in the measure of hardness scale. This is beautiful amazonite. Amazonite is one of the few stones. Think hemimorphite, think Larimar. I'm so happy for you. It's so good. All of the stones for, Deborah's asking about Lyme disease. All the stones that I just mentioned for autoimmune would be excellent for you to use for Lyme. So that would include eudialyte, sugilite. Some people even use moldavite for autoimmune, interestingly enough, with some success, I should say. Okay, there aren't that many stones in the mineral kingdom that are in this color. Think Larimar, think blue hemimorphite, right? Think turquoise is another one that comes in this sort of like deep robin's egg blue. And by the way, turquoise, here's an example of blue turquoise. You got green in your kit, but this is just I just wanted to show you the difference in color between, this is Kingman turquoise, best turquoise on the planet, not mined anymore. So it's just traded, and the beautiful green turquoise that came in your kit this time. So 6 to 6.5 on the measure of hardness scale. Virgo is the sign, water is the element. It's found in Brazil and Africa. Most of the amazonite that I work with is Namibian, including this. Anytime you see your smoky quartz with inclusions, it's mostly African. The amazonite that comes from the US, that comes from Brazil, tends not to have the same mineral inclusions as the amazonite that comes out of Namibia. And of course, I always say that's because I just like African stones a lot. They're interesting to me. Isn't that fun? And it's really interesting. Before, a good friend of mine died a couple of years ago, and he was the father of Mindat.org. His name was Rock Courier, and he's one of the legends in the field. And I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with him before he died. And he was the one who actually found this deposit of amazonite with smoky quartz in Namibia in the 1970s. It was him and his colleagues. And so in his office, one day but it only grows with smoky quartz in Namibia. And so one day he brought me back into like the super secret place in his stash with all his really prized minerals. And he had a cluster. I swear, the thing had to be, and probably it was even larger than I remember, but I couldn't put my arms around it. And it had huge points of crystal clear smoky quartz coming out of these structures. I mean, think of the crystal structure tonight, right? The triclinic. It was these triclinic amazonite with these huge points of smoky quartz coming up out of it. I couldn't breathe. I mean, literally, I was looking at the thing and like pseudo hyperventilating. It was so beautiful. So he's the one. He's the one that found that. And I got to hear all about his experience of being in Africa and having been, away from the US for so long. And it's not easy to mine in Africa. And it certainly wasn't easy in the 70s. And just hearing the story of these two guys, who were in their heyday, right? These guys were in their 30s, back in the 70s. And what it was like for them to stumble, I mean, literally just stumble upon this find and be the first one. So this is from rocks. If you've ever gotten the smoky amazonite palm stones from Sage Goddess, this is from that pocket that Rock found. How special is that? It's a really important touchstone, which is why I'm giving you a piece of it tonight. I want you to have it because it comes a little bit from my heart. Okay, so let's talk about amazonite. Let's talk about truth. We talk about throat chakra, and I think that people kind of start to assume that they understand what the throat chakra really does. It's not just about speaking your truth. It's also about locating your truth. And it's about locating truth. I always say truth with a capital T, okay? It's sort of like, there's moments in your life that you go through. Sometimes it happens to you multiple times where you you feel like you don't understand what's true. And sometimes it's because something difficult has happened. Maybe you've had a death in the family or something has happened that kind of rocks your world a little bit. And you have this moment where you're like, I don't know what truth is. You know what I mean? What's true? And so, and so that's what this stone is all about. It's about reconnecting you to your own sense of truth, and one that isn't ephemeral. Do you know what I mean? I mean, so many of us, I think, we anchor our truth in people, or we anchor our truth in things, or we anchor our truth in our experiences. And what you learn as you get older is you can't do that. Truth has to be anchored in your faith. Truth has to be anchored in your heart. Truth has to be anchored. I mean, you have to know who you are no matter what circumstances come, so that you can be a rock to yourself. You know, forget being a rock to everybody else, but you have to know who you are on the inside. That to me is Amazonite. That was me riffing for a moment on the throat chakra, but I think it's almost less, Amazonite is to me about speaking truth as it is about knowing truth and being able to anchor yourself in a deeper understanding of what actually matters. You guys are shaking your head because. So here's my invocation or my blessing for Amazonite. I stand in my integrity, opening myself to higher truths and knowledge. I move beyond my fears of confrontation, speaking with confident and humble authority. I am living my truth. That should be your mantra. Yeah, and I was talking, I don't know if you guys saw me. Sometimes I forget where I was when I said things, but I think I was live on Facebook the other day, and I was saying, you know, I'm a great keeper of secrets. Everyone has always told me their secrets, and then always said, shh, don't tell anybody, right? So fortunately, I'm getting old and I'm forgetting now with menopause, so it doesn't even matter. You can tell me a secret, and I'm not going to tell anybody because I probably will forget. I've always been a vault, and so for a lot of us, this throat chakra truth stuff, this is no joke, because we've always felt like we carry around other people's truths, but we better not tell. You know what I mean? And so anyway, a lot of us have had that. I think this next generation, we're breaking those molds and those patterns, but in the past, that was not a dysfunctional thing to do to your child or to your sister or whatever. So anyway, this stone brings harmony. I want you to hold it in your hands. Brings harmony. It accesses and activates both the heart and the throat chakras, in my experience. That's right. Speak your truth. Acknowledge your truth. I mean, you don't have to speak your secrets to speak your truth. You know what I mean? Although I really believe there should be at least one person in your life who knows it all. They may not know the whole thing. Like in my life, different people know different bits, but all of me is known. So it's not like I'm going to go to my grave with big, big secrets. You know what I mean? Like all of me is known. It's just known in different pockets to different people. But I think that's really important. You have to have at least someone in your life or someones who know all the things. I know that's easier said than done. And so it's about the pure flow of love and consciousness that leads to a deeper understanding of your personal truth, which helps you tap into universal truth, which helps you become a beacon for truth. Do you know what I mean? Because the more you vibrate in your own truth, the more you show up authentically living what is your full truth, right? The more you give other people the freedom to do the same thing. You know, the more you show that you're not tolerant for lies, because I don't even like lies within people. Do you know what I mean? When I see someone living a lie, even personally, I have such compassion. It's like, gosh, I don't want you to live that way. That's a prison. You know what I mean? Like not living your full authentic self, whether it's your sexuality or your personality or whatever it is a form of confinement. And I don't think anyone deserves to be confined. I think every single person in the world should fully show up as who they are. Except it's not that easy. You know, when you grow up being told that you're weird, when you grow up being told that you're wrong, when you grow up being told that you're bad, when you grow up being told all these things, you get to a point, a lot of people at a certain point in their life where they're like, I don't even know how to live truth. You know what I mean? Like, who am I? And I don't even know if I'm okay. And I don't even know if who I am is acceptable. And so, you know, I'm speaking this because it's true for all of us on some level. I'm 99.8% there, but there's still part of me from when I was little, like, maybe I am a freak. You know what I mean? Or maybe I really don't belong, or maybe people don't like me. You know, there's always that little tiny voice, right? This is your freedom. This is your key to unlock that shitty door. And if you're ready to do it tonight, let's do it. Are you ready to do it? I mean, this is how you work with your stones. And so tonight I connect deeply and intentionally with the energy of Amazonite, and I invite you to do the same. And I allow myself to step fully forward in my truth, knowing that who I am is worthy, that how I am is worthy and okay, that I am worthy of love, that I am worthy of friendship, I'm worthy of being in my truth, and that my truth is worthy of being expressed. Because that's the other big piece of it, right? My truth is worthy of being expressed in a fearless way. That's the real medicine. Well, Denise, you know what? Speak it anyway. You know what I mean? Remember that quartz can always be programmed to behave as any other stone. So what you could do right now, if you didn't have Amazonite, is you could pick up a piece of quartz, program it. So I program this quartz to act as if it is Amazonite for this evening, to help me in this work on truth. You're welcome, you guys, by the way. Big kiss to you, Michelle. Mwah. Ah, Petty's crying too. We are worthy. And so I program this quartz to behave as Amazonite for tonight. And as it works in this way, I ask that it connect me to my deepest truth and remind me that my truth is worthy of being expressed. Amen, aho, and so it is. There are no excuses not to work with stones, even if you don't have the stone you're trying to work with. Which is kind of a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I didn't mean to make you cry. Wish I could pass you virtual tissue. Give you my shoulder to lean on for a second. Okay, aho to that. Okay, so it is something of a receptor crystal, Amazonite is. It receives messages from the universe very, very clearly. So you'll notice when Amazonite is around. And so as you think about whether this giveaway is going to speak to you tonight, when you have Amazonite around, what it's doing is it's a constant sending and receiving of transmissions, especially the African Amazonite, which all Amazonite from me that you have is African. And so in any case, that's one of the beautiful things about that particular stone. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you. Okay, so let's move on to feldspar. You ready? I'm sorry, labradorite, which is feldspar. This is your palm stone. Your palm stone is your labradorite for tonight. Labradorite is one of my favorite stones to work with. This is my wand. This is a beautiful single terminated wand made out of labradorite. So you can see the light play, the chatoyancy as we call it, that band of light that goes across is exactly what you're looking for in labradorite. So that's one of my favorite tools. Okay, it is the stone of new beginning. That is absolutely what it is. And I put activate. Oh, interesting. Reading your experiences with this particular stone. I always love that to hear, like how you, so Carol says, I had an interesting experience with the labradorite from this kid. I turned it, and when the light hit the side, like ancient writing on it, when I looked at it again, the writing was gone. Huh. Do you know that same thing happened to me one time, Carol? Not to digress too much, but I was in Joshua Tree, out on the what they call the landing strip, because there's a place outside of Joshua Tree where UFOs have landed for a really long time. And I picked up a rock and I turned it over, and I swear the rock had cuneiform on it, which is the ancient Sumerian language. And I picked it up and I was like, oh my God, that's cuneiform. I can somewhat read cuneiform, one of my special skills. And then I turned the stone away, I turned away, and when I looked back down, it was gone. All the etchings. I still have the stone. I have it at home, and it does not have the lettering on it that when I first picked it up, I saw all that cuneiform writing. Crazy town. I love labradorite so much, you know, I wear it all the time too. Stone of new beginnings, cosmic and spiritual rebooting. If you need a do-over, if you're setting intentions, if you're trying to bring something into being that doesn't exist right now, labradorite is the stone for that. It's a member of the feldspar family. Karen, you absolutely must. In whatever form it speaks to you, Karen. I mean, it can, and some people really like tumbled stones, or they like wands, or they like, you know, sculptures, but you absolutely have to. It's really funny because the cuneiform that I was trying to translate it, and that's why as soon as I turned away, I was like, I think I know what this says. And I literally, when I looked back down, I was like, and it's gone. And then I was like, why didn't I take a picture of what I saw? But in those moments, you're not mindful enough. You know what I mean? Like, it happened so fast, and I was so excited, and then I was like, oh. In any case, so I put activate on this crystal partly because that's what the triclinic stones do. They're activator stones. They're also balancing stones, but they also create. These are stones, like just like I said with the amazonite, it's constantly sending and transmitting and receiving and sending information. Same thing with labradorite. It's sending and receiving energies of that new moon, of those new beginnings. It's almost like a big, giant, dark sky upon which you can take your finger and write in stars, right? It's sort of like, and I often imagine that with the new moon, like big, beautiful, dark, black canvas of night sky, and just taking my finger and writing in stars. You know, here's what I want to create, or here's what I want to experience, or here's what I want to build. That's often how I think about setting intentions at the new moon. And that's really what labradorite represents, right? It's the spectrum of color that lights up the night sky in so many beautiful ways. Linda's got her labradorites on right now. I don't know. I felt like it was trying to send me a message, like an affirmation message. Sometimes your crystals do that, like you're on the right path, or we see you, or we acknowledge you. It was something like that. That was the message that seemed to be communicating. The name labradorite does not come from the dog. Just want to make sure, since you're in GemWise, I can't send you out into the world saying things like that. It does not come from the Labrador dog. It comes from Canada, the Labrador Peninsula in Canada, which is where the primary original pocket of labradorite was found. However, your labradorite, it is a gateway crystal. It totally is. Your labradorite comes from Madagascar. And in fact, I have never bought labradorite from anywhere else. And that's because the best labradorite in the world comes from Madagascar. And one of my friends is the one who owns and operates the mine. And I love her so much. I wish that you could meet her, because her energy, when we're in Tucson together, because we're going to be spending some time together, I will bring you to her to meet her. You will love your labradorite from SG even more once you meet the woman who mines it. She's a pretty remarkable, gorgeous, stellar, amazing human being. Okay, so that's where the name comes from. It's a silicate material. So again, where are you going to be on the measure of hardness scale? Somewhere between a 5 and a 7. Sagittarius, Scorpio, Leo are the signs. Wind element. The one thing I want to teach you, by the way, just because, Cynthia's Canadian feelings got hurt. Not that Canadian labradorite is bad. It's just not as accessible anymore. And I like spectralite better than labradorite. Don't tell anybody I told you that. It's fun to meet the people, right? Aw, Ty's daughter said, hi, Athena. You know, that's what my daughter called me when she first, because I was always mama, but when she first started saying Athena, she couldn't say TH, and so she would say F. Just super cute. Give that little sweetie a kiss from me. She made my night. I love that so much. Okay, so I like spectralite more. And do you know why? Because it displays the full spectrum of color. Spectralite is the only form of labradorite that's going to give you the pinks, like those beautiful rose shades, and those violets and those indigos, like that deep purpley blue. You're going to get this color blue from labradorite, like above my finger. That's the color you're going to get from labradorite. But you're going to get that color, that purple, and this color up here from spectralite. So just, you know, not to be judgy, but I do definitely find that the spectralite. So when people are selling you purple labradorite, they're really selling you spectralite, and it doesn't really matter because it's still the feldspar family. So at that point, we're splitting hairs. It's got the same chemical, physical, optical properties. So it's sort of like, you know, it's almost like snobby, like, oh, well, that is spectralite. And it's like, okay, well, good for you, right? So let's look at our invocation or our mantra for labradorite. And you can hold your peace while I read to you. I move with ease between realities and realms. I welcome support and assistance from my guides, ancestors, and angels with deep gratitude. I embrace the mystery of darkness with new eyes to see every emerging facet of light. I thought that was really beautiful. Did you enjoy that? That was a beautiful one, wasn't it? So it was discovered, like I said, in Labrador, which is the eastern coast of Canada, in 1770. I'm going to drink my tea real quick. The Inuit people used labradorite as a healing tool. They thought it was a physical healer, and they would also make tinctures using labradorite stones, and they would make other kinds of healing potions out of it. They believed that it was, the Inuit people believe, the native people believe that the aurora borealis was actually trapped inside labradorite. And so they called it the Firestone, which is really interesting. You sure can use a labradorite generator if you're lucky enough to have one. We've only had them a couple of times here at SG, but if you have one and you want to set up like a new moon grid for your intentions, that would be a really beautiful way of doing that. I had a little owl. I don't know if you remember him. So spectrolite and labradorite are not exactly the same, but they are both rainbow specimens in a matrix of feldspar. So basically, they have the same chemical, physical, and optical properties. Oh, is that really? I love that story too. I think it's really, really sweet. So yeah, so they call it the Firestone because they believe that the aurora borealis is trapped inside. And you can imagine, I mean, there they are in the north, right? And here's the stone that looks like it's alive. You know, in Mexico with fire opal, they feel the same way. They believe, in Mexico, they believe that that's the sun trapped inside of the stone. Selenite in Greece, right? Selene is the goddess of the moon. And why did they name selenite selenite? Because ancient Greeks thought the moon light was trapped inside of the stone. So, you know, our ancient ancestors, whether it's the Inuits with labradorite, or it's the Mexicans with fire opal, or whether it's, you know, the ancient Greeks with selenite, we're looking at these stones displaying all this light play and chatoyancy, and they couldn't explain it, right? They're sitting here and these stones are like blowing their minds, and so they just had to assume that it was nature's beauty that got trapped in there, and that's why they look like they were lit from inside. Okay, labradorite initiates all kinds of astral activity. And so that's one of the reasons why it's such a potent intention setting stone. Again, it's a key. All of these stones are keys that we're studying tonight. Keys to truth, certainly in your Amazonite, without question. Keys to balance and to healing, especially in places where you've had any kind of central nervous damage or trauma. And that's why I think MS, where you have myelin damage and other things like that. It's a key to health and transformation. And this is a key to an astral code, really, for what your new beginning should be. And what I always tell people is, if you don't know what intention to set, yeah, it's absolutely right. Diane said microlabradorite, which is galaxite, really looks like northern lights and stars. It totally does. If you don't know what intentions to set, ask your guides. You know, sit and hold your labradorite and ask your guides what new beginnings need to come through you and see what they have to say. And again, that's another beautiful way of working with your stones. Thank you for that, Robin, by the way. Love, love, love it. Except my spectrolite comes from Madagascar and not from Finland. The main pockets of spectrolite come from Finland, or Madagascar, in my experience. But Finland, there are still stones in those remote locations, but not as much. Okay, so past life recall, telepathy, astral travel, prophecy, communication with guides and angels, all are possible with labradorite. It also helps break up old patterns. You know, if you've been stuck in some old patterns and some old ways of thinking and believing, labradorite's a really good guide to get out of those spaces. The last thing I want to talk to you about tonight is your green turquoise. Did you love working with it? I hope you loved working with your green turquoise. And I'm going to try something new. I'm going to tell you about green turquoise. We're going to do this little mantra, this little exercise that I thought up, and then I'm going to do your giveaways, and we're out. We're getting a weekend going. Yes, they are. So that's the other thing is most of the members of the feldspar family work largely the same way, in the sense that like black moonstone is virtually replaceable with labradorite, right? Peach moonstone, rainbow moonstone, sort of the flesh colored, you know, the basic moonstone, not as much. They have different properties. I'm so glad you love the turquoise. This is one of the most special things I've given you in a kit. Green turquoise, all Native Americans believe that turquoise is the most valuable stone that God ever created. And in fact, where's my little note to read this to you? It's really special. The Zuni, I believe it was the Zuni, who called turquoise Chal Kwi Hui Tal. Chal Kwi Hui Tal, which means the most prized thing in existence. That tells you something, right, about how Native Americans felt about turquoise. Now, I think I told you next year, our entire curriculum for 2018 is based on geography. So I'm going to be teaching you every ancient civilization, starting with Sumeria and working ourselves all the way up to modern day by the end of December. And so I have been studying ancient Persia a lot lately because one of the civilizations I'm going to take you to is there. And in ancient Persia, turquoise was one of the most valuable commodities. And to this day, some of the most beautiful turquoise, I hope you're excited about last year or next year, it's off the charts. I mean, like I said, I'm studying probably about 10 to 15 hours a week right now, just getting ready to start teaching you in January. That's how intense next year's curriculum is going to be. If you're a geek, I'm about to geek you to heaven. So when we go to Persia together, I will be showing you the turquoise route and where the turquoise mines are today, where they were historically, how turquoise was traded, but even to this day, Persian turquoise. I have one necklace that's Persian turquoise, and it's like a little robin's egg, perfect, beautiful specimen of the stone that has been so prized to so many for so long. To this day, Native Americans believe that turquoise is the strongest protection you can have against evil and demons of any kind. And so my kids have had it in their bedroom since they were babies. My son has a really beautiful piece of Sleeping Beauty turquoise that I gave him. My daughter has a piece too. So I always give people turquoise to keep wherever they sleep because it keeps them safe. It helps prevent night terrors and nightmares. I'm so glad you like it. So if you have your green turquoise and you love it, do me a favor, don't stick it in a drawer. This is so special. There's very little natural green turquoise like this just floating around in the market. It was almost an accident how I got this for you. So I want you to wear it, whether you wire wrap it or, find a different way to wear it and work with it. It's a stone of wholeness, balancing, harmonizing, brings peace. Highly sought after as a healing tool, particularly the green turquoise. The purple in the turquoise is turquoise. Turquoise shows up in different color waves, and so the purple is still your turquoise. Known to heal the emotional body, alleviates tension, it promotes truth and communication. And so now you understand why it's part of this triclinic family, right? It's yet another key. It's a key to protection. It's a key to wisdom. It's a key to strength. It's a key to balance. In Persia, by the way, they believe that turquoise brings immortality and everlasting beauty. So the women in turquoise believe it's an anti-aging stone. And if you've seen Persian women, they don't age badly. I have some Persian friends who are in their 60s and 70s. My aunt is Persian, and she, at 75, is one of the most beautiful women I have ever seen in my life. You would not believe she was a day over 50. So whatever they're doing is working for them. I hope I have a little bit of her genes somewhere. It is the truth. They take very good care of themselves. Okay, so it's giveaway time. Let me make sure I answer at least some of your questions. If I didn't get to all of your questions, I will come back to them. We do as much as we can in our crazy hour and a half together. So the 3 pieces I have to give to you, because I already gave Misha her magical kyanite that I have filled and imbued with beautiful healing energy for her. So the first piece I'm going to do is this gorgeous Namibian from Rock Courier's personal collection from his rough that he mined. Beautiful African amazonite that is striated, almost like zebra print, right, with smoky quartz. So this is protection, protects you as you speak your truth, as you locate your truth, as you find your truth. Who is feeling called to this gorgeous thing? Isn't it beautiful? It's a wonderful one. It's really special. And especially, I want you to choose what you're saying you're called to based on, and by the way, maybe just comment with which pieces you're feeling called to right now. And I'll do all 3 giveaways at once. So you can comment and say amazonite and big citrine, or amazonite and small celestial citrine, right? Just comment with what it is that is really speaking to you. But choose it not based on the fact that it's worth a bunch of money. Choose it based on the fact that it's what you need. So if you are working on truth right now, if you are trying to really understand what's going on in your life and how you need to access that information, because I want this to be a working tool for you, not just, something pretty in your collection. Well, I think I know who it is, and she's screaming for it. But I had the feeling about her earlier anyway, and that is Dauphine Parks. Sweet, beautiful Dauphine. Love, 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 love. I had a feeling earlier. And so when I just saw your name again, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fight, universe. That's exactly who it's supposed to go to. So sweet one, I have held this close to my heart today, and I don't know why, but every time I pick it up, because I think it just fits right in my sweet little hand, I've held it close to my heart. So you're going to get a piece that is warm from my touch as I send that off to you. So love you, Dauphine, and I'm so glad that you are going to work with that beautiful piece. Yay! Okay, so let's do small citrine first. This is an Celestial citrine too. It's from the same pocket. It's got huge rainbow if you missed it. And I do believe this one's in hydro. We have all seen movement in this one. And it's double terminated. Double terminated. So this is prosperity, ancient wisdom, and healing would be the... I love it. Did she just totally pass out? You love all the citrine. Oh, it loves you. It loves you too. Aw. Okay, who's feeling this one? Yay. Okay, I think I have a winner. Hey, Pam LaBeouf, coming for you. This one is coming home to you, sweet Pam. And I'm very excited about it. And whenever I choose a winner, I kind of channel for them. There is prosperity coming to you. I'm not seeing 2017, Pam. I'm seeing 2018, and it's at least some money coming from an unexpected source for you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't plan for it or can't plan for it, but it's not going to be something that you expect. It's good news, and it could be not just a one-time something. It could be an ongoing stream, but it's financial prosperity, and I feel like it's coming in 2018. They're not showing me what month or what period in 2018, but it is coming. So you get to celebrate with that piece. I always get happy when I can tell somebody there's prosperity coming. It is one of my gifts, and I'm usually right. My intuition, especially in my 40s, I don't know what it is, but the older I get, the more on I am. I don't get as much information. I used to just be like, barraged by it. I don't get quite as much anymore, but it's really accurate. All right, girls and boys. I'm just laughing because, honest to goodness, I just want to pet it. All right, here we go, you guys. Are you ready? Prosperity in like the biggest flippin' way, okay? And when you get this one, you have to choose how you're going to display it. This side is gorgeous and it glows. And by the way, if you sit it this way, look how rad this is, you guys. Look at all of that celestial under there and then all of that citrine. It's like you can see both. But then there's that, right? Like how gorgeous are those scales? Look at in the sunlight. Isn't that just the most beautiful? It's translucent, you guys. Woo! Okay. I don't know who this one is going to, so just keep commenting. Can we just pass it around and touch it? Damn, you crack me up. Oh my goodness. I know. Are you ready for this one? I'm really reading your comments because I know it belongs to one of you. I know it does. I know. And somebody said they can't believe I'm giving it away. Dana said that. Do you know that I know for sure when something's not mine? And part of my commitment to spirit is I don't ever keep anything that doesn't belong to me. I don't keep people that don't belong to me. I don't keep stones that don't belong to me. I don't keep anything that doesn't belong to me. It's pretty rad, right? Heather will lick it. That's going to be very interesting for Heather. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Well, Spirit has spoken to me for you. I'm very, very, very excited. Very excited about this. Okay. And it is because there's prosperity coming to you. I struggled for a minute because I was drawn to two of you, and so I really let Spirit decide, and Spirit has spoken pretty loud and clear. So, Skara. Skara Brooks. I believe it's Skara Brooks is your last name. Where are you, Skara? Come to me, Skara. It's yours, and there is prosperity coming to you. And this is a big sign to you. You are ready. I feel like what your guides are saying, Skara, what your guides are saying is that you've been very patient and that you've been working some magic for some time. Is that true? You've been working some magic for some time. And there have been moments when you questioned, they're saying, when you were like, is this really going to happen? Is it really going to happen to me? Does anybody see me? I don't know if I'm channeling accurately for you, Skara, but that's what I'm getting for you. And so this feels to me like a big sign to you that you have been seen, that the prosperity that you seek is coming to you, and that your efforts are going to pay off. And I don't know when that is. I'm getting sort of the same. I think she passed out, by the way. I got sort of the same feeling with the other piece, by the way, too. You know, it's like there is prosperity coming. It's not right this minute, but I sense that it's in the next like 6 to 18 months for you. And so both of you have some major prosperity energies coming to you. What a blessing for me to be able to do that. So this is what I do. I send stones home. And I'm really glad that I could send those 2 pieces home to you girls tonight. Is she okay? Did she pass out? I hope she's okay. We may need like triage for her. Clear? All right, you guys. So all the ladies who won tonight, please private message me on Facebook. Make sure I have your correct mailing address. I want these beautiful treasures to get to you. And please know how grateful I am for your presence. I am so grateful to you. So grateful and thankful for the opportunity to gift you as well tonight. All right, your October tools are in the shop. So if you haven't gotten them, get them. Like I said, the Moldavite that's in that kit, we have always sold for $15. Your whole kit is $19. It includes all the other stones. So it's a really good value for your October set. I cannot wait to teach you about Moldavite. I have information and insight about Moldavite that nobody has. So next month's class is going to be very exciting. And I'm going to take you through a meditation with Moldavite that's going to prepare you for liftoff. All right, you guys, have a beautiful weekend. Truly, truly, so grateful for you. I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much.